As you progress in Castle Creep's battle, you'll unlock an exciting variety of cards and strategies, but you don't have to wait to play with a great deck. The combination of cards available to you when you finish the tutorial can perform well even in higher level arenas. Let's talk about a few crucial tips for using the starter deck effectively. Use your towers. Your towers can do a lot of damage for free, so use them. Of course, to use your towers, you need to allow the enemy to get in range. If the enemy wants to cross your bridge, let them. If you have Elixir to use while waiting for the enemy to cross to your side, play your units far in your backfield. Just be prepared to distract the enemy once they are in range of your towers. Placing distractions to the side forces the enemy to travel further into my territory to engage the distraction, while taking fire from my towers. There are exceptions though. When you're placing a swarm, surrounding the enemy will allow you to get more attacks against them at once. The Ogre Brute and the Juggernaut can't be distracted from attacking your tower. Those will need to be taken down. The Goblin Horde is your best option in the starter deck. The enemy wants to prevent you from using this though, so you'll often see a Goblin Bomber or a Forest Dragon backing up their attack. If this happens, don't despair. Just be sure to draw the area of attack elsewhere before placing your goblins. More troublesome are spells and hero powers that can wipe out your goblins. If the enemy has these ready, my preferred defense is the Orc Berserker. Orc Berserkers deal a tremendous amount of damage per second for their elixir cost, and they have enough health to withstand spells and hero powers. Soak up damage with your Ogre Brute. Most people see how the Ogre Brute can be used on offense, but you're not using your cards to their full potential unless you can use the Ogre Brute defensively first. The Ogre Brute is weak against swarms and high DPS units, but it is an excellent distraction against most other units. Placing the Ogre Brute first allows you to safely throw squishy troops into the fray. After it plays a defensive role, the Ogre Brute can continue to wreak its lumbering havoc in an offensive push. Compare the Ogre Brute stats to the Orc Berserkers. The Ogre Brute costs more, but does much less damage per second than the Orc Berserker. The Ogre Brute has much more health though. Use the Orc Berserker to do damage, and use the Ogre Brute to take the hits and keep everyone else alive. Practice your aim. If you struggle with using the blast spell, you're not alone. It takes practice to time, aim, and to even know when to use it in the first place. But if you don't practice and get better at it, you'll miss out on a crucial game-changing element of the game. As we've talked about, it's easier to defend than to attack. When your units are on the enemy side of the arena, your enemy will be able to distract your units from attacking what really matters. And your enemy might even play powerful, expensive swarms like the Goblin Air Force or the Hunting Party that can decimate your attack. You need a way to keep your attack alive by immediately countering your opponent, even on their side of the arena. Apart from hero powers, spells are your best option, and Blast is a powerful spell. Blast can also help by dealing unblockable damage against enemy towers that are close to crumbling, but spells are an expensive way to deal damage. The true power of a spell lies in its ability to keep your attacks alive and snuff out high-cost enemy swarms. Switch lanes. Too often, new players pick one lane to power through, completely ignoring the other. Don't get me wrong, there are good reasons to focus your attack on just one lane. Splitting your damage against two enemy towers does no good if you don't manage to take out either of them, and it's easier to overwhelm a tower if you throw more elixir at it. But playing more elixir in one lane clumps your units together, making you vulnerable to punishing area of effect attacks. And if you never even consider attacking the other lane, you're missing out on valuable strategic opportunities and dynamic, enjoyable gameplay. The most basic reason to switch lanes is to get to a blank slate. When you trade early attacks with your enemy, they will sometimes do more damage to your tower than you do to theirs, then wait for you to attack while they gather their elixir back. If this happens, consider switching your focus to the other side where you and your opponent are on equal footing. Then the elixir your opponent spends on defense won't be able to easily transition into an attack against your weaker tower. Another reason to switch lanes is to stop an enemy from building a big push against you. Let's say that your opponent places a slow, expensive card like the Ogre Brute in the backfield. They're hoping to place more and more units behind the Ogre as it lumbers forward until they have an unstoppable army sheltered by a high health meat shield. Don't wait for them to do it. You can throw them off balance by attacking the other side. A third reason to switch lanes is to punish the enemy for overcommitting. When the enemy uses all their elixir defending one side, you have an opening to attack the other side, as long as you save enough elixir to defend once their rabble crosses into your territory. Use your hero power wisely. Finally, use Mason's hero power wisely and watch out for enemy tricks. The hero powers in Castle Creeps Battle create strategic situations not found in other Catalyzed Battle Arena games. To learn more about how you can use Mason's Guillotine and defend against enemy powers, check out my other video, The Heroes of Castle Creeps Battle. Don't let the creeps get to you. I'll see you in the arena.